Hello everybody, in this video we take a look at Kai, the assassin class in Demeo, a VR game and a VR RPG game available via Steam VR or the Oculus Store. So when you join the game or start a new game, you're going to need to choose one of the classes, and basically you can choose any one of them. It doesn't matter what the other players are playing if you decide to join, for example, a co-op game in quick play. Now, each champion, of course, has its own advantages. The advantage of the assassin is that it can deal very high damage when actually hitting enemies at the back, behind enemies. So basically, the goal is to try to get to enemies and attack them behind and deal this extra damage. However, the assassin can easily be killed when overwhelmed by enemies, especially when he's dealing damage, which is a main ability in close range. So you don't have any shield, so basically you have a card which is your class card, which what it does allows you to sneak. As you can see, this card, sneak. Alright, so let's take a look at this card. You see sneak. This card, by the way, each of the champions has its own card, and this refreshes every turn. It costs 1 action point, as you can see at the top, 1. And keep in mind that each of the champions have 2 action points each turn. So you can spend this on moving, using one of your cards, or attacking without using actually any card. Some cards actually cost 0 action points, so you don't actually consume any action points when using them, but this one consumes 1. So what is sneak? As you can see, let you move about unseen, no replenish while stealth. So what this card does is actually turning you invisible to enemies, so enemies can't actually detect you, which is great, and it lasts for 3 turns. So you can see I'm just grabbing the card, dropping on all my character, all my assassin character, and it will become invisible for 3 turns. You can actually see the number of turns. There is an icon above your head that shows that you are invisible, and also the number of turns until you become visible again. Keep in mind that when you attack an enemy from stealth, you become visible again. Also, enemies can detect you. So again, when you decide to attack an enemy, first of all, and want to become invisible, first attack and then become invisible, because otherwise you're gonna lose your invisibility when attacking an enemy. So I'm just going, and I'm invisible, but right now I'm attacking an enemy, so I'll become visible again, as you can see here. Just attacking, regular attack, by dragging myself onto the enemy to do my regular attack. Preferably from behind, of course, to deal the maximum damage. As you can see, I deal extra damage. It calls backstab. So I'll deal 3 extra damage plus 2 because I attack from behind. So again, extra damage, lots of damage. So it's important to make sure when you position your character, to position it so you attack from behind and not from other directions. Now, because the assassin be invisible, so several turns, and of course you can replenish this one in the next turn, he can actually scout areas first instead of letting others come and actually trigger enemies and maybe face many enemies that can attack them. You can go first, enemies won't detect you, and you can actually find out where enemies are located. Now, it's better off no scouting alone on other sides of the map, just staying relatively close to your teammates, but just a bit of front, and get first in the area where you want to scout and become invisible, and just see what threats are there, and then your teammates can actually prepare for the threats that are coming ahead. Now, aside from, of course, your character or champion card, which is unique to you, and your ability when you actually take your character and grab it to attack, melee attack, you're gonna have other cards as well that other players can also have. So these cards, you're gonna get them when you start the game, when you open chests, and when you finish a level and buy from the store, or when you fill up your energy bar, and you're gonna get more cards, you and your teammates, of course. So this is also another options that is available in your arsenal. Now, I would say for every champion, actually, the positioning is very important, but I think for the assassin, it's even more important because in certain situations, if you want to deal the maximum damage, you probably want to hit from the back. So, for example, if there's poison, you probably don't want to waste yourself facing enemies because you don't have armor. This compared to melee character that can have an armor and protect themselves, you probably need to maybe spend some moves to go around enemies and flank them from behind to deal the maximum damage. Sometimes it's worth it. Instead of just dealing, for example, like 3 damage, instead of maybe 7, it's better just to flank enemies and surprise them from behind. Now that's true for many other moves. For example, if you have a turret and you want to put the turret behind enemies, right? You can go there invisible and put it there. You want to throw poison on enemies from behind to a certain location. Although you have a good range, you can do this. If there are some threats that are, for example, in the third floor, there's a big room in the middle. If there are some threats and you actually want to eliminate those threats behind, which for your teammates is going to be a disaster to go there, you can actually go there and get rid of some enemies there. Now, although I'm free to actually position myself more freely compared to other champions, sometimes I just enjoy being relatively close to the melee character, because it can actually tank enemies, it can replenish armor, and just be a finisher to kind of make sure that me and the melee tank character can actually finish a group of enemies together very fast. But the dynamics of the game will put you in many situations where you need to kind of think your moves and position yourself carefully. But overall, just in case you have you kind of stumbled across many enemies, you can always go invisible and just, you know, give up the move, but plan for the next moves. Always information is very useful, so again, your character can scout around and provide this information. So overall, I really like it because it's a combination of high damage, scouting, and you can really kind of deploy some really cool strategic moves that other champions just can't. And can solve some issues, especially at level 3, where this kind of a small room, and sometimes, for example, I want to navigate to a location where a chest is in order to open it, and get cards for the entire team because we need it. So other characters won't be able to do this. They will be able, but it will be risky for them. Whether for me, I can just become invisible, go and open the chest and get it. I can even activate a well to heal without actually risking myself or my teammates. Now, there are many situations where this kind of a stalemate, or you can't enter, like there's poison, and this can happen a lot in the game. What you can do is actually, while the teammates maybe trying to get the enemies, taunting enemies, get their attention, you can actually, by the time they're actually doing this, and some other champions can eat enemies from far, you can also do this if you have the cards right, but this is actually a good chance to try to maybe flank enemies from behind rather than spend turns on just doing nothing. Because again, your damage, if you want to really eliminate enemies fast, your best chance is just go and use your primary attack, which can deal lots of damage to single target enemy. So use it and don't spend turns just wasting turns and pass them, but try to flank and spend this time to surprise enemies. Maybe you're going to find just one enemy on the way and you can eliminate it and just clear things up for your team if they're just dealing with an area with lots of enemies, or maybe there's poison around, where this takes time until things clear up. Now, like with the other champions, it's very important to, of course, talk with the other teammates to know what type of cards they have, and of course know their abilities. So for example, if there's the sorcerer, you can actually, if I'm just dealing with an enemy with lots of health and I'm just attacking it, they can actually stun it, so I can actually finish it next turn. So trying to kind of a combo with different abilities, and again, there are of course many variations. I'm not going to dive into each one, and this is something that I will continue learning, and everybody will learn as they play. So always it's important to try to understand what cards are available and ask the team if they have a certain card that you already know that can help you in a fight. So knowing the available cards is important, and also communicating with your teammates so you can actually know what cards they have and ask them if they can help you out. Again, same goes to the abilities. Yeah, so this is the assassin class. Of course, I'm going to learn more and share more in-depth information once, of course, I get more experience and skill with this, but this is based on my experience so far. The other thing is that when you get into a game with quick play, pay attention to what champions are already being played, because it's actually good when you have one of each. So sometimes I see like 2 melee or 2 range. So the thing is that the assassin can be very useful in this composition of character. So if you don't have an assassin, pick the assassin. And sometimes you can just ask the teammates what they prefer. Maybe they prefer something else, but again, overall it's really great when you have one of each one, because each one has its own unique utility that can contribute to a fight. So if you don't have sorcerer, you don't have the sun ability, which in many cases it can help a lot, especially when you can stun enemy, and I can with my assassin deal damage to more damage over, instead of hiding, continue just dealing damage and not being afraid of getting hit back from a high HP or high threatening enemy. So again, make sure you choose the hero if it's needed. So if you already have an assassin, just don't go with assassin. So that's why I recommend knowing all the available champions in the game, get experience with them, so you actually know if you don't play them, others play them, you know actually how to actually synergize with their abilities. So this is it for this video. Hope you find this one useful. Again, the game is out not long time ago, right? So I still need to continue gaining more experience, and I will share this one as I play. And there are lots of things to learn, but already the game is absolutely amazing. And if you want to know more about it, you can check out my full review of the game on my channel of Demeo. And I'll see you very soon on the next video. Thanks for watching, everyone. Cheers. Bye bye.